Yeah, Gavin, it's great to be back here. We've been here for the last few days. You've been here yourself, so you've seen what's going on with coaches. So we've had nearly 80 coaches here for the last 2 days, in small groups, obviously with social distancing guidelines, etc. But we've gone through the practical coaching sessions, and we've gone through some of the roles and responsibilities. And the lads have been doing online coaching course and online Cul camp course for the last maybe week or 10 days. So we're nearly ready to go from the coach's point of view. We've been delighted. We've had so many applications. We weren't sure when it happened, but yeah, it's delighted that we were able to get so many.
Absolutely, indeed. And as you say, it generates, I know you were on with Tomas there a couple of weeks ago, great local employment, I suppose, as well throughout the county, great, different mix from west and east and various, male and female.
Yeah, it is. And I suppose, particularly this year, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of summer jobs going for a lot of people. So I know we did some coaches who had originally maybe planned to go to America and came back, and we were able to give some of them jobs and we were able to pretty much give nearly, not quite everybody, unfortunately, but we might by the end of the summer. We after going back to a couple of people and giving jobs. So it is great that we can break that, and it is important that young lads and ladies in clubs who are doing some coaching can get I suppose the Cul Camp's a reward for them for the work they're doing voluntarily during the year, and it's nice to get paid for a job here, hopefully out in weather like it is today, Gavin.
Absolutely, yeah, hopefully, and the weather is going to be a big factor this year, because obviously you've made a decision that there's going to be no indoor activities, use of halls or dressing rooms, obviously still not in action. So I suppose that in itself, touch wood now, hopefully the sun will be shining.
Yeah, and that was a decision. The McDonagh, our coaching officer, came with that proposal a couple of weeks ago, and was approved by Kishta Bonishty, and good work done there. And I suppose particularly in light of what's happened today, where the GAA have announced that the dressing rooms won't be open from next week, I think there was good foresight there by McDowell and Deise committee to put that in place, and that's been well flagged with clubs, so I think it's very good. We'll obviously have club facilities available for toilet use and for a medical room if required, Gavin, but other than that, yeah, it's going to be outdoors. We're letting parents know that, and clubs are aware of that as well, and so are parents, so that's the way it has to be at the moment. I was listening to someone, and the risk is 19 times greater if you're indoors and outdoors of contracting coronavirus, and I don't think we want to have any of that. So I think it's a good safety first policy.
Absolutely, indeed, and a lot of protocols which the coaches were outlined, and of course there's going to be various sanitising stations which clubs have been busy putting up, and the groups then as well, they'll be in a particular area, a particular zone on the field for that week as well, with a specific coach as well. So this will be outlined, I suppose, on the first morning as well.
Yeah, it is, and I suppose it's been outlined to the coaches here in the last few days, and it's been outlined to the clubs, and to be fair, we've had great backup from the clubs, and I suppose it's good for our point of view. The clubs have been back for maybe 3 weeks or so now, so they're in the used to this, and the children are used to coming in and having to sanitise their hands every time they come into the field, and having to sanitise before you leave, and not sharing equipment and that. So from that point of view, the fact that clubs have been back for a couple of weeks will be good for us, because the vast majority of children will have been back in their clubs and will have seen that in action. I suppose from our point of view, there's just the onus and responsibility on us, and we were emphasising that point a huge amount in the last few days with the coaches, and we will be again towards the weekend, that these are things that we need to take into account. I suppose they were always done, Gavin, but maybe they were done without maybe much thought to it, whereas now they have to be really thought out, and they have to be recorded and that. So even the health questionnaire, all the coaches have to submit their health questionnaire, have to redo that every day. Every child has to resubmit their health questionnaire every day as well. So, but again, people are getting used to this. I suppose it's the new normal, Gavin, and but I suppose the important thing is that when the child goes out onto the field, that the activities they do won't be a whole lot different. They'll still be doing hurling, football, camogie, ladies football, rounders, fun games, activities, matches, and really that's what the child wants to do. So I suppose the onus on us is to make it as seamless as possible for the child to get out onto the field, and when they get out onto the field, to give them the activities they had. And, we were chatting, and the coaches were chatting, and making the point that this will be the first real activity kids have had for the last 4 or 5 months. So we're hoping that we have a good programme in place, and that we can give them as much good activities as we can to make sure that they enjoy their week at Cul camps. We all need a good few weeks of this, and to see the joy and the kids being happy in that, I think will be a lift for everybody.
Absolutely, that's what it's about indeed. And as you say, all kicking off on Monday. I know there was a couple of clubs made a decision not to host this year, but you still have a lot of camps happening, and all kicking off 6, I believe, next Monday.
Yeah, 6 next Monday. We've Abbeyside, Stradbally, Butlerstown 1, Galtier 1, Delisle, Grace Dew and Mount Sion are on, and then there's another 28 then over the next few weeks. So again, a number of clubs are having 2 camps. There's Abbeyside, Dungarvan, St Mary's, Butlerstown, Ballygunner, Tramore are all having 2 and 3 camps. So there's still huge interest. We reckon we probably have over 3,000 children. We've about 2,750 booked in at the moment. So it's huge numbers, there's massive interest. So it's great that we have had that. And unfortunately, as you said, there was a few clubs who just weren't in a position, but it wasn't that they didn't want to run the camps, just with local circumstances, etc. But they've all those clubs have said that they would certainly hope to have a Cul camp again next year, and we'll work with them them as best we can. And all the clubs we've been dealing with, the GDAs have been out dealing with clubs the last few weeks and doing pre-planning documents and making sure we know exactly the layout of the place and that. And we've had great support from the clubs and great cooperation from all the club officers and coaches, and we're really grateful for that.
Absolutely. And I suppose for any parents only listening to this piece now about maybe bringing their kids, be it next Monday or the following week, any bit of kind of advice and just make sure they have their house in order, because it's not like, I suppose, maybe a normal year where they can just drop them off and head off, kind of a thing.
I suppose it's just maybe just reminding the children on ongoing basis that they need to be sanitised. Our coaches the coaches all have sanitation packs. We have all the equipment there that we need for masks and coverings and gloves and gels and all that stuff, and maybe just reminding the children that and just reminding the children about the social distancing. And I suppose if they can do that at home, it'll help them when it comes to the camp, and maybe just allaying maybe some of the fears that the children may have, that they're still going down to the local GAA field, they're still going to play the games that they love. So I suppose it's encouraging them down to the field, and hopefully, listen, I still think we'll have a good 6 weeks. I think things will go well. All we need is the weather to be good, but the signs are good, the interest is good from children. We've some excellent coaches here, and we've some excellent clubs looking to do some stuff. So I think if we can go well, and hopefully, Gavin, if I speak to you at the end of August or start of September, we'll be able to look back and say, okay, it was different in previous years, but the children who were here still had a great time.
Finally, from your point of view in Deise, obviously the Cul Camps is a big flagship event, and it was a difficult couple of weeks for us all. I suppose we love GAA and we were kind of locked up, but there is that gradual return now, and it's good to be back in pitches again, and I know you're back up and running as well with various projects.
Yeah, it's fantastic, to be fair. It's been a tough few months for everybody, Gavin, and particularly maybe on people who lost relatives due to coronavirus and COVID, so it's been even tougher on those people than us. But it is good that we've been able to get back out onto the field, get back into action. The City League and Town and Country hurling and football are up and running, as you know from your own involvement. The board and Nog is getting up and running as well. So the activity is starting to get back into action, and it's great. And the GDAs have done a good bit of work making sure that we can get into action, and they're working with under 9s and under 10s to have some matches and small activity programs for them in start of August, September as well. So there will be plenty of action, and hopefully, listen, we're over the worst of this, and hopefully we will be able to run out those programs as planned, and that things will keep going well. But it is great to be back in action, and from next week onwards, when the Cul Camps start, City League, Town and Country, Board No under 9 and 10 matches started, it'll be great to see fields. There'll be huge crowds there's been huge crowds for fields so long as people are doing it the right way, but there's been huge crowds so far, even at challenge matches. And I say there's Junior B challenge matches, never had as many people at them, but it's great to see the people are interested in the games.
Lovely note to end on. Well, Eoin Breathnach, many thanks for joining us, and the best of luck with the camps now kicking off on Monday.
Thanks very much, Gavin, appreciate that.